Hi, this is Cal Dodd, and you're listening to the FSF PopCast.
The show that tried to moderate a debate between Wolverine and Deadpool, but just couldn't keep up with the sarcasm.
Our show is brought to you by our charity sponsor, the Red Shirt Widows and Orphans Fund, which supports the Wish Upon a Teen Foundation that helps out sick kids when they need it most. And just imagine the comfort you'll give Red Shirt crewman number 1963. He'll know that when he puts on the red shirt and joins Wolverine in the battles with Sabretooth, that he didn't leave his family destitute and without hope, because the Red Shirt Widows and Orphans Fund has his back and what's left of his claws.
All right, guys, our guest today is a longtime voice actor who has provided the voice of one of my all-time favorite Marvel characters. You've heard his voice on X-Men, the animated series, Spider-Man, the animated series, Marvel superheroes, and so many other things. In fact, he and most of the original cast are coming back to X-Men, the animated series, this fall on Disney Plus with the show title X-Men 97. I'm super excited. I am so excited to welcome. Not only I'm okay, so I'm excited about the show. Let's get that off first and foremost. I'm really excited about that. So I'm a little giddy here. We're working through it. Don't worry about it. I'm spinning up. We're gonna make it. But I'm also super proud and excited to welcome the voice of Wolverine, Cal Dodd, to the FSF PopCast. Welcome to the show, Cal.
You are so welcome, and thank you very much. It's my pleasure. Where did I see you guys, Tim? Was that in Grand Rapids, or where were you guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we met you in Grand Rapids.
And where are you guys now?
I'm actually 30 minutes up the road from Grand Rapids. That's like okay. You guys were literally in my backyard. So I was like, I can't not go to see the guys from X-Men. So
yeah, of course not.
I'm just on the other side of the state, which is why I didn't get to go and meet you in Grand Rapids, which was heartbreaking. But
I get to meet you now. So
Nick and I were the ones that met you in Grand Rapids and talked with you for a little bit. And, Kathleen pretended she was busy or whatever. She wasn't really interested, but it's okay.
False.
She's like false.
I cried the whole time you guys were there.
All right, so Cal, in my opinion, there are only a few people who are iconically a character. We think you can think of Kevin Conroy, rest in peace, Kevin. But Kevin Conroy as Batman. There's Mark Hamill as the Joker, and you as Wolverine, to name a few. But because of your vocal talents, you've gained quite a following and you're a popular attraction at Comic-Cons and fan expos. So what does it mean to you to have such a connection to the fan base and how they view your work?
Again, it all comes down to this guy, to the character, to Wolvie Logan. And I can see why the fans love him, because he's got this huge heart. He doesn't take any crap, and he defends all of his friends and looks after them basically. And anyone that was bullied in school or picked on, this is definitely their dude, because being a mutant and the way he is, he's constantly looking to be accepted, and just never seems to happen for him, including even with his relationship with women. He's just always, the Jean thing just broke his heart. Of course, right. He's still in love with her for sure. And just wait. Then next X-Men 97, you okay? I can't tell you anything. You know that, but Wolverine and Jean, it's just, it ain't over. Anyway, so the fans and when I go to these Comic-Cons, I can't get there soon enough, because they are so darling, dear, and sincere about the way they feel about this guy, and they all come up to a person. And my wife goes with me, Donna, and she's sitting at the table, mostly that time sitting at the table. She just shakes her head, because they just come up and say, before I say anything, I have to thank you for making my childhood. And I've heard that so many times. It makes my heart warm. And she, of course, shakes her head and goes like, "You're kidding, right? He made your childhood." Being the wife. It's like,
right?
Oh, really? Yeah. So, but I love him to death. Always have. And when the show finished after 5 years, I was just like, "What do you mean finished? This is a popular show." I said, "Well, it's kind of an unwritten law. They don't want to go beyond 5 years." I said, "Well, who wrote that law?" Now, who wrote that piece of shit? Oh, pardon me. Who wrote that law? Bob. And they love him to death, and I loved him, and so I can't believe I'm back with him. Like, they cut off one of my arm, now someone's put it back on, and away we go with Disney. So it's just going to be a blast and a half. We've done 10 episodes. They announced at the San Diego Comic-Con that we're doing 10 more before they even see the first 10. So that's wonderful. And the fans, I love them. I tell them, I mean, they're just, like I said, they are so giving, warm, and I love meeting the kids. And obviously, there are a lot of, well, like I said, because they were mutants, that's why they gravitated towards them. People who were bullied, etc., or had anything out of the norm, they loved him. They loved all of them, whatever characters. Women, girls loved Rogue and etc. But even I'm amazed at the girls that also love Wolverine, because I don't know, it's amazing. And I was going to say that, so in these Comic-Cons, there are so many, it's amazing, autistic children. And in one case, it was an autistic father with his daughter who was about 11 or 12, and she was autistic as well. And he walked up to the table, and it's just, he was all dressed in black cape and stuff, and he had Wolverine's claws on. And I had mine on. I wear them when I'm at the table and stuff. And he walked up and he just stood in front of me with his daughter beside him. They were both dressed in black. And she's just like gazing at me, and he's like looking straight at me and goes on for about 2 minutes saying, I have to thank you for my childhood. I'm autistic, and my daughter here is autistic as well. And we just so loved Wolverine, and I had to thank you, because you're the reason I'm still alive. Because I was at times going to take my own life, but I realized that Wolverine would never do that, and so I'm starting to get a little teary-eyed with this guy, and then he finishes, and so I just want to thank you so much for my life. And I put my hand out to him, took my claw, put my hand out, and he took the claw off and shook my hand and said, thank you so much, and turned around with his daughter, and they headed off. Up comes running this woman up to my table, and she said, it was his wife. She said, she's in tears, and she said, I have never, ever seen my husband touch another human being ever, with this, physically touch another human being, but he had to shake your hand. It was Wolverine. So he touched me. He said, I said, oh my God. So I lost it. And so I said, I love you all. Just don't be so silly. It was that to me says it all as far as fans and stuff, because that broke my heart. It was just like, oh, geez, this is just amazing. This show, what it spawned, and I love it.
Yeah, the community around this show, the love for this show, is amazing. Anybody you talk to about it, you say, hey, this is what's, remember this show? Oh yeah. And I've actually had conversations with full-on complete strangers. In fact, in line waiting to talk with you, I was talking with the people in front of me, and they could not wait to get up to talk to you because they were so excited about meeting their childhood hero.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, yeah, that's why we're all here. And because the great thing about Comic-Cons, especially for a guy like me, is that I do this show, and I talk to people who are out there doing the things, and it's awesome to be able to talk to people that have had such an impact on your life as a young man, and have had an impact on your fandoms and all these different things. But here I have to try at least to be somewhat professional. At a Comic-Con, I can go there and just be a fan, and it's fantastic. I can do all the giggling that I can't do on camera here, and try to, I mean, it happens, but I try to limit it. But yeah, it's amazing. Just even being in Grand Rapids and watching the lines for each one of the X-Men characters that was there, and then going to the panel room and listening to the panel interactions and things like that, and seeing everybody in their cosplay and how excited they were just to be in the room. Mm-hmm. They didn't have to be part of the conversation, but just to be there was pretty impressive.
Yeah. That was that the panel when we were all up there, and Larry was with us, and the writers were there as well.
Yeah,
I think so.
and,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
a couple of you guys were
there's-
up on the couch, and
Yeah.
there was a bunch of chairs around.
Yeah, and I think that just that was sort of out of hand. I mean, there was too much for the fans at one time. That should have just been the characters. The voice guys should have been there so that people could like actually talk to their. Because once a writer starts telling the story, it goes on for half a day. And at one point, I was just gonna get up and say to the audience, I'll be back in about 20 minutes, because I knew who was getting up to see. I'll be back in about 20. I'll see you later. Honest to God, I was close.
Oh, would you look at the time?
Wolverine would do that. He would just say, "Hey, excuse me, I go when and where I want to go. When and where I want to go, pal," and head off. Call me when you need somebody.
As it's already been established, we're nerds. We're nerdy people. It's what we do. And
Isn't
as
everyone?
nerds, as nerds, we're usually curious about the origin story of our favorite characters and our favorite actors.
Yeah.
So, question for you, Cal. What is it that got you into acting, performing, and eventually voiceover work?
That's a long story. Well, seriously, we came over from Ireland, and we were all singers from the age of. I'll just preface this by saying my younger brother, not the youngest, Sean, my youngest brother, Sean, was born blind and deaf. God love him, and he died about 6, 7. He was never supposed to live past the age of 3 because he had a hole in his heart, blind and deaf. Mom had German measles when he was born, so he was born blind and deaf. It's just terrible and very, very expensive. Like, he couldn't eat. He had to eat Gerber baby food. Anyway, I told you it'd be a long story. So there were 4 of us at home. That Sean died, and we were all singers, and everyone sang. Mom and Dad Mom had a beautiful voice, both of them, and we all sang as a family. We would sing at different functions in our little town of 3,200 people on Lake Erie. We would sing at conservative deals and at liberal, conventions and stuff. All Irish songs. Mm-hmm. So like all these old Irish songs we would sing. Anyway, so Rory's the youngest, and the two of us, I did a rock opera on Hamlet, Shakespeare's Hamlet. It was called Kronberg 1582, which eventually went to Broadway. I got Rory his first job ever. He worked across the street from our house in the beer store. And I got him and said, "Come on, you got to get into this crazy business." So he didn't care. So he got the gig with me, and so he was played Horatio. I was Hamlet in this. We spent a summer in this theater. As a result of that, the show went to Broadway. He went with it. I went to New York to work with the Three Dog Night, the rock group, and to replace them with our group that we were putting together with Capitol Records. And so Rory was there doing his thing. With him, he took from our show in Canada Beverly D'Angelo, who ended up, the actress Beverly D'Angelo.
Mm-hmm.
That she and Rory were in the original show with myself, and she went with it, and Rory went with it. The only ones of the original cast to go to Broadway. And in that production, Rory met Meatloaf. Right, so Rory, of course, they got together before Meatloaf. Of course, that even happened. And Jim Steinman and Meatloaf got together with Rory, and Rory was the background singer with another guy and the girl that sang background, and toured with Meatloaf for the next 2 or 3 years. However, Meat was, and did all the records, Bat Out of Hell and all that stuff. So one night he's in the studio and he's recording something. Steinman did demos, of course, as all writers do, and Rory did his demos for him. So it's about, he's been singing demos for him all night, and Steinman says, "Hey, Rory, Ice," he called him because he was from Canada, Ice. "Hey, Ice, can you sing one more song? I'm doing this record with Bonnie Tyler. Can you just sing? I need this part in it." He said, "Jim, it's like 2 a.m. He said, it'll only take you 15 minutes. It'll only take you 15 minutes. So it's only 2 a.m. Oh, how silly of me." So he said, this is what he sang. Seriously. So, "Turn around, every now and then I get a little bit low. Turn around, bright eyes, every now and then I fall apart." So Bonnie, that was the song that he sang in 20 minutes. And he ended up on the Grammys with her singing that "Turn Around Every Now and Then" with Bonnie Tyler, Total Eclipse of the Heart. So he did it. That was his career for the rest of his working days and stuff. And I continued on with the acting, the rock group. And at that point, I was also doing jingles. I was the singer in Canada for commercials and stuff, like beers, bras, eggs, anything, like just like in the States. I would go to the States to sing some of these jobs and stuff, as a male lead vocalist thing.
Okay.
And then also group singing. And I did that for 25 years. And then someone asked me if we were doing a commercial singing thing for Chrysler. And it was, who's got all the, if they wanted someone to play the sergeant in like a march off thing, who's got all the 4x4s? That would be me. And Lori, one of the other guys said, you do that, Cal. And they would answer like, Chrysler's got the 4x4s, round off, that thing. A year after I did that, the guy remembered me. That was a singing gig. I had never done a voiceover. The guy remembered me, and he for Chrysler. And a year later, and said, "We're interested if you'd like to be our voiceover for Chrysler." Voiceover. I'd never done one. Knew that it paid at least twice what singers get. Singers only get scale, never more than scale. So voice, I said, well, let me think. Yes. So I did. So for the next year, 2 years, I did Chrysler. It was the voice of Chrysler, which was stupid money. I just went like, wow, that's the only voiceover I did. Someone called Karen Gora, actually not someone, Karen Gora, who was the casting person for X-Men, phoned me and said, Cal, would you like to audition for this character for this new project that they're doing? It was all under wraps. They wouldn't tell you what the project was. And I said, sure, okay. So I went, and it was this guy. Whoops, this guy. And I said, okay. So they explained what he was, who he did, why he's 5'3", he's tough as nails, and he has a big heart, blah blah. And yeah, we hear Clint Eastwood, and I went, okay, great. When I read the first line they gave me, I went, Clint Eastwood. I said, I better be able to talk. Like, go ahead, punk, make my day. That's, Clint was very quiet, sort of that way. I said, this needs more volume. They said, hey, we just mentioned that name. There's other names, Steve McQueen. I went, good, I like that, because he's short. Steve McQueen, one of my favorite actors, very into him, very quiet, insecure, and into himself. And I love that about Wolverine, because he's very quiet, doesn't really talk to a lot of people or anything like that. Social, he's not really sociable. So they gave me the line. I said, okay. And I said, oh, by the way, you'll love this. So again, I didn't know. I'd never heard of the X-Men, didn't know who they were. And, let alone who Wolverine was. And this character, I look at the character, the sheet of paper that they gave me to read the line. And I said, so I said, Sabretooth. I said, seriously, I said, is this an animal cartoon? And they said, what? Pardon? And then they just started laughing their heads off. I said, Wolverine and Sabretooth? Is this an animal thing? And I was serious. But they just started, when they stopped laughing, they said, no. Sabretooth. And they showed me a picture of him. I said, oh, geez, okay. I said, no, you hate him. He's your arch enemy. He could possibly be your brother somewhere way back or something, but no one knows for sure. But you don't like it. Whenever you two meet, all you do is scream and fight. That's all. Okay. I said, it makes more sense now. So this is the first line I read. So, all right, you egg-sucking piece of gutter trash. You always did like picking on people shorter than you. Well, I'm shorter. Try pushing me. And there's the claws, and the fight was on, of course. Well, they just dropped their drawers and were like, holy shit, give them some more lines. There goes your thing. So they did, and the next one was that. I know what you're thinking, punk. Question is, can I get Wolverine before he turns me into shish kebab with those claws? Well, bub, seeing as how these claws are adamantium, the strongest metal known, and can slice through vanadium steel like a hot knife through butter, buddy. You gotta ask yourself, do I feel lucky? Yeah. So they just went, okay, thanks, we've heard enough. And I just left. Okay. They phoned me that night, said, we would like you to be our Wolverine. And I said, okay, whoever he is, I'm in. And the next 5 years was just like unbelievable. And, I'm so happy to be back doing it again. So that's the short answer, Kathleen.
I love it. That's a great answer, though. That is
fantastic.
Yeah. And so then then for some reason, they I guess it's just word of mouth and stuff, but it could go from this guy's voice to
wasn't very nice of you to throw me in the sewer like that, was it, Sarah?
to Slappy from Goosebumps. That goof. Whoa. I did that too, but talk about two totally different extremes in register.
Wasn't very nice of you to throw me in that.
Detective Wolverine. Yeah. So anyway, that's the way it happened, Kathleen. My
I
story.
I love that though. That is,
Okay.
and it's I mean, coming from an Irish family, hearing it's totally, we're all performance driven. I get that. Like
Yeah.
my grandmother was an opera singer. My parents met doing community theater. Like I look at this with it is so ingrained in our blood. It's just for that to be your origin made sense to me.
Oh yeah, for sure. With the Irish for sure. Like everyone Irish. Well, of course, we were born there. But Mum was just an unbelievable, beautiful voice, and Dad sang as well. And in the church, of course, he would lead the singer and stuff, from the front. Mum would be the organist, and you, of course, everyone would sing basically.
There is
Awesome.
something though about the Irish that they just love performing. They love making people happy. I
have kissed the Blarney Stone as well. So the jabber never stops. It's beautiful though, isn't it?
I haven't made it there. My mom and my brother did, and I was so jealous. But
I
That's
can't
lovely.
wait to get to Ireland. It's the lifelong. That's the travel dream. That's where
Get going,
So,
Tim.
trust me, it's been under discussion for some time. So my wife and I just celebrated our 25th anniversary, and I'm like, TikTok, honey, let's go.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. So hopefully one day I'll be able to convince her into it. I don't think I need to convince her. It's more than just making it happen.
Yeah, we just celebrated our 30th November. This past November.
Oh, awesome! Congratulations.
Yeah, welcome. I mean, you're welcome. Thank you.
As you mentioned, Cal, Wolverine isn't the only character you've played. You also did Goosebumps as Slappy. You've also done Fraggle Songs as Dozer, and Ron Rapid Fire, just to name a few. So is there another role out there that you particularly enjoyed that you think people need to pay a little more attention to?
Well, it's not gone it's not on any longer. I think it was only on for 2 years. It was called King. And the guy, and I just loved doing his voice. The guy's name was Bob Wire, because he was made of barbed wire. His whole body was barbed wire. And so his name was Bob Wire. But he had one
That's
of
awesome.
that, almost like the voice of the guy from, it was another, not Fraggle Rock. Was it Fraggle? Yeah, the Fraggles, because the Fraggles lived below. The scientist had his dog.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then below, the Fraggles lived below in the thing, right? In the basement, supposedly.
Yep.
But yeah, so there was this big character in Fraggle Rock that was just great, that I just loved. I sort of borrowed that voice that I heard, but he was like, all right, you Fuegos, like Fuegos. He couldn't pronounce his R's. They were Fuegos, like Fuegos, like Elmer Fudd sort of thing, but with a guava-y voice. Anyway, it was a fun role, and it's gone now, so no one will ever see it. It was called King. Oh, and another one that was the Weird Years, it was called, and it only lasted for a year as well, but it was a great thing. And that was like of a Russian sort of, the guy from Fiddler on the Roof, that kind of a voice, Zero Mostel, the guy that was from Fiddler, the Fiddler on the Roof, the star guy. Because I love that movie and the musical, etc. I just loved his voice too, the way he talked to Jesus. You kidding? This thing for her? He's not good for her. That kind of a voice, I love doing those kind of voices. But growing up with my father, I found out that I could make a lot of people laugh, and I love making my father laugh. And I would do Gomer Pyle, Jerry Lewis, and I would just impersonate Humphrey Bogart, whatever. And because I was good at it, I had an ear for that, and I carried that on, of course, when I got into this thing. Which brings up the story of doing an X-Men episode. And Norm Spencer, when we did used to do it all together live when we first started, all 7 of us would be in the studio with a microphone in front of each one of us with a baffle between that. The leakage got so bad, but the engineer's going like, this is crazy. I can hear him, over there. There's no, I need separation here between the voices, because it made it a nightmare to edit for this one episode. And it was the first year, I think, that they asked, and like I said, I didn't know any of these voiceover people. They were all voiceover artists, for doing commercials, etc. And this was my first, other than Chrysler, the first voiceover I'd ever done. And I would never see anyone else, because the only commercial I'd ever done was this Chrysler thing, and I didn't have to audition for it. They just gave me the gig, and I never saw any other of the voice people. So they're all, now I'm surrounded by them doing X-Men. And Norm, we became really, really good friends, and may he rest in peace. was Cyclops, and of course our characters hated each other. And he's right beside me in the studio. So they, and I do a really good Ted Knight too. And every time he said it, he did a voice. I would go, I do that one too, Mary. To do Ted Knight, I do that one too, Norm. And he would go, just look at me and go like, oh, shut up. So the guys who are doing this particular episode, Wolverine is out of his Wolverine outfit and in a pool hall, and he's playing pool, and he's got the long chops of the hair and stuff and sideburns, and there's these hoods or whatever, and they're all got pool cues in their hands and stuff. So they needed voices for them. And there was like one or two lines each one of them had. So someone said in the studio said to out through the glass to us, does anyone do Jack Nicholson? And of course Norm's hand goes up, says I can do that. And so I'm standing beside him, and he does this. He reads. Gave him the line, and he read it and stuff. And because I was hesitant to do anything because I'm brand new, and I said, I think I can do. I'll let you try too. I can do that as well. I'll try it. So I did the line, and Norm was like, I'll just read. All right, you egg-sucking piece of gutter trash. Now, whatever it was, I had to read. They started laughing in the studio at me. I said, to kill the bug up your ass, Norm. So Norm turns to me and just says, why don't you just piss off. Like, but in a nice way. And he actually just turned to me and said, that bomb word. And like, he said, oh, no, being serious, but not, saying, oh, come on. What don't you do? What voice don't you do? And I just laughed at, we just had a laugh and went. Anyway, I'm the one doing the Jack Nicholson impersonation in that episode. Get out of here, you long fuzzy hairball, or whatever he said back then. It was hilarious. There were a lot of those moments between Norm and I, so it was a lot of fun.
And now, a word from our show sponsor, Level Up Sabers. Their link can be found in the show notes.
All right, so Cal, one of my favorite things in movies, TV shows, or animation for sure is when they want the character to swear. And it's pretty clear that that's what they want them to do, but due to the show, the ratings, the audience, or whatever, they use substitute words that are actually written into the script. Like Star Wars uses Carabast, other shows use frack or Gorham, Rutten, or frag. Those are some substitute swear word examples. So Zach Wallner from Twitter wanted me to ask you, what was your favorite replacement for cursing during his time playing the old Knucklehead?
The one I just read for you. That my first line that I ever read. All right, you egg-sucking piece of gutter trash. That's as close. There's a thing on YouTube. That's a great thing. Well, and I'm sorry, but I don't know who came up with it and pieced all these things together. But it's called Wolverine's Attempt at Swearing, and there's about 35 different lines that he said, all like that. You egg-sucking piece of gutter trash. Or I can't think of there are many of them, but
I'm gonna have to look that YouTube video up, though. That sounds hilarious.
Highly entertaining. Yeah, I'm sure it would be. I just love that because you see, you think about, like, I was thinking of this when like Star Wars Rebels uses the word Carabast, and they call each other Bantha Fodder or Sith Spit or something like that.
Scruffy looking nerf herder.
Firefly uses Gorham and Rutten and things like that. So it's kind of popular in TV shows and animation to do that, to get it on the right and legal side of things.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm sure he could have come up, but they turned those into like you egg-sucking piece of gutter trash. What he wanted to say. All right, you.
Right. Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
So, Cal, another one of our Twitter followers, Agent X710, Wanted to know, have you ever adopted something your character has said as part of your everyday life? And if so, do you find yourself slipping into that character's voice when you do it?
All the time. I'm at well, again, growing up in this town, the town that I grew up in, it was a tough town, and 3,250 people on but the largest inland lake freshwater fishing fleet in the world, which is pretty amazing, in Port Dover, like fishing tugs, etc. Anyway, it's a rough town. So I heard half these things. The lines I had to read for Wolverine, like egg sucking, not that one particularly, but that kind of talk, and like any that what this picture is from. That line, anytime, pretty boy. Heard all those growing up, like, you know, and what's the matter? Teacher's pet got cold feet. That's the line before he says anytime pretty boy to Cyclops. What's the matter? Teacher's pet got cold feet. And then Cyclops looks at him like he's gonna blast him with something, you know. There's only Wolverine and Cyclops there because the professor had just taken off in his chair because Cyclops is sucking up to him. Professor, didn't you say that we were supposed to try and influence the mutants into regular society? And Wolverine's like basically doing this behind him. Blah, 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 blah.
That's what I've always loved about Wolverine.
The teacher's pet got cold feet, and he gives him a dirty look, and Wolverine's response is, anytime, pretty boy. So
yeah, I've actually used the anytime pretty boy line a couple of times in my
or
life.
back off, bub. And I use bub all the time. These little young kids, like 10 or 12 at the golf course, come up behind me and pull my, like at the snack shack. Mr. Dodd, can you do Wolverine's voice, please?
So we have a Facebook group, and it has over 209,000 members, and they are big fans of everything sci-fi and all sorts of the geeky culture and stuff. And it is just filled with memes. It is this mixed with this. So if you were to take two of your characters that you've played, which two characters would you like to see like mesh together to become a whole new character?
I'm just laughing because I'm thinking of Slappy, which would not be good to meld him with Wolverine. I wouldn't mind. I would say, well, except I don't like I said, Wolverine doesn't have any luck with women. So I don't know if it would bother him that he couldn't. Well, yeah, it would, because you really want to kiss Jean. I was going to say Rogue. I would morph those two, so Wolverine could fly. That's all we need. All we need is Wolverine flying around now. Yeah, or that, or Beast, because I love Beast's brain. Beast and Wolverine, that would be weird.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because Beast is built like crazy too. He's just so mild mannered. Which is like a contradiction with Wolverine.
I like the combination of Beast and Wolverine, though.
Yeah,
that could be a lot of fun.
There's no hair problem there. both of them have this thing happening. You know, it's so
right.
I don't know.
That's what my hair looks like when I wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
That's why I wear a hat most times.
And you wonder why your child is so. So Beast, like the Beast. This is Eric's other book. You've talked to Eric and those guys, haven't you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know who I would join together besides Wolverine and Beast. Or if it was going to be a girl, it would be. Although Storm would be good too. But I'm going to say I would morph. This is a very smart ass move answer to that question from Wolverine, but from his heart. I got an idea. Well, because I answered a question like this too, and it was I think I did it in that panel thing that you guys were at. I said I would like to be Cyclops. I think that's what I said to the question. I said I would like to be Cyclops so I could be with Jean.
There you go.
That was the question that they asked me. So that started to say I would meld those two just so I could be with Jean.
There you go.
Because he's all about Jean, Wolverine. He just loves her to death.
Always and forever, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So at this point in our show, Cal, one of the things that we do is we either take our guest through a quiz or we ask him a silly question to end things up. And so today we're going to ask you the silly question. Okay.
Oh, I thought we'd already done that.
Oh, well, that's
those were our serious questions.
those were our attempts at serious questions. This is more of a silly one.
Okay.
All right. If you, Cal Dodd, were an ice cream flavor, what would you be?
Chocolate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Most popular flavor.
There you go. Well, you can't argue with it. It is the most popular flavor. That is for sure.
Oh, is it?
Oh,
I
yeah.
think so.
I'm
And then I
pretty
think
sure.
vanilla is second or something.
Growing up, I would never eat anything. This is so bland, but vanilla, never.
My husband is the same way.
Wow. It's weird. I hated strawberry. I didn't really like chocolate. I love chocolate now, and still vanilla.
There you go.
That's it.
Well, Cal, thank you so much for being on our show today. Where can our listeners go to find out more about you and your works?
You can go to caldodd.com, caldodd.com. Not my not my true spelling of my name, which Kathleen might understand. It's pronounced Cathal. It's spelled Cathal. You don't pronounce the T, and it's pronounced Cathal. When I came to Canada, the kids at school were calling me cattle because they were told not to pronounce it, so they pronounced it cattle. And I came home to Mom and I said, Mom, they're calling me a cow at school. They're calling me a bovine. Like, she said, what? And this is grade 3. Cattle, they're calling me. That fella. He said, no, God, no. So we changed it right away to Cal, C-A-L. So what was the question again?
Just where people can go to find out more about your works.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, sorry, caldodd.com. And since what do you call it? Since COVID hit here in Canada, or basically the world, but when we all really knew, okay, we're in for something here, it's here for sure, was March 2020, somewhere around that time. And I started, just to keep friends' spirits up, I started posting 1 to 2, mostly 2 songs every day. Still to this present day, I'm over 1,000 songs that I posted on Facebook. So it's and on Facebook it's Cal Dodd, whatever. But the songs are really, like, they're excellent songs. And of course, for St. Patrick's Day, they're all Irish songs. For Christmas, it's like all Ave Maria, the Lord's Prayer, Oh Holy Night, and that, everything, and the hymns, Christmas songs. And the rest, all the time, it's just the songs that I love singing and that I've sung all my life, etc. And great rock songs and pop tunes and everything. So I'm over 1,000. That's about it. Well, there's Twitter at Real Cal Dodd on Twitter. That's about it.
All right. Well, we will link your website and definitely make sure that our viewers and our listeners can go and find you and figure out what you've got coming up.
Yeah. So Kathleen, on the website, when you open it up, it's my head in black and white, but then it starts off with commercials that I did, like audio commercials, voiceovers, then singing commercials, then there's different lines that you can go to, and then sort of religious songs, whatever. And my CD, there's a cut, all the 10-15 cuts of my last CD that I released, and of course Wolverine, like that excerpt, like, I know what you're thinking, punk, that one, and Slappy.
Was very nice of you to pick on me.
And the other characters I was talking about are on there as well. Weird Years and the guy from King, Bob Wire, which are very good, very funny. But everything that you need is there.
Awesome.
That's sort of like a summary of the career that I've had.
I want to remind everybody that subscribing is the single most important thing you can do to ensure that we get more amazing guests like Cal Dodd here today, and funny moments for you to be able to listen to. So please subscribe. It helps more than we can really tell you. And make sure you go to check out Cal on the social media sites. His website is fantastic. We didn't get a chance to talk about his music today, but Cal has an amazing singing voice, by the way. He's able to hit the low notes, the high notes. He's just, his voice soars. So go check that out. You will not be disappointed in what you find on his website. But if for whatever reason you are not happy with the content of our show today, please feel free to lodge a complaint with the head of our complaint department, Wolverine and his daughter /clone X23. They brand a sharp version of justice with their adamantium claws. So bring 3 copies of your complaint form, one to be held on file at Xavier's mansion, and a copy for both Wolverine and one for X-23. But be assured that once they have determined the validity of your complaint, they will get straight to the point, if you know what I mean. And since Wolverine and X-23 can only be killed most likely by drowning, I think we're probably in trouble. Particularly since we're just tired old podcasters who need to improve their skill and ability. So, go gentle on us. We don't heal like Wolverine does.
At least I can swim.
All right, guys, that's the end of our show. Goodbye!
Ciao.
Copyright 2023 FSF PopCast.
Reference to any specific product or entity mentioned on this podcast does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by FSF PopCast. The views expressed by the guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. If you have any questions about this disclaimer, please contact us via email at info@fsfpopcast.com. Original music by Jordan Michaels.